The federal government of Nigeria has given a marching order that no cargo must exit the newly constructed Lekki Deep-sea port by road. Speaking on behalf of the government, the Minister of Transport, Engineer Mohazu Jaji Sambu, has said that he has given the Managing Director of Nigerian Port Authority marching order that all goods must leave the Lekki Deep-sea port by rail or barges. Minister who disclosed this while delivering his welcome address at the 31st anniversary and award of Maritime Reporters Association of Nigeria, MARAN.
And at the same time, build capacity for our people. Finally, I don't want to take too much of your time. I am sure the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency will have very good news for the maritime community tomorrow. So don't say the minister came in quietly and didn't invite us. So I would like to extend, at the risk of being winked at by my DG, the DG of NIMASA, because we have agreed that it is going to be just between him and I. And it will remain so, I hope, until tomorrow. But we want to be very sure. So every maritime reporter is invited tomorrow at Milman Point, Victoria Island, I think at 11 a.m. DG, where we are going to send forth another batch of Nigerians who are going to be trained as seafarers. And during that occasion, we may have also cause to take some classes. On this note, Chairman, my brothers on the panel, thank you so much for it. I was very sad the day I went to One and I saw containers being exposed and physical examination. I hope there are brothers and sisters from customs here. The other day, for those of you who follow Facebook, I had gone to visit my brother, the CG of Customs, specifically to appeal to him to help in removing the this room. What do you call this room again in Apapa?
Long room.
No, not the long. Is it the long room? There's a room that has this radioactive material. Yes, a scanning room. Now that room is an obstruction to the rail connection into the port. And the reason he told me, I think we were supposed to have made payment to decontaminate the place, and then after some time they will come and remove the equipment. I came back to the ministry and made inquiries, and I was told that the ministry had made that payment a long time ago. So my intention is to go back with evidence to show the CG that we made this payment a long time ago, and there is no reason why that building should still be standing. Because I don't understand how and why in this day and age we still be moving goods on the road. Yes. And when I was working with the National Inland Waterways Authority, it used to pain me that the Inland Waterways transportation mode was never developed. And I found myself on the driving seat. And there are two projects today that are very, very close to my heart in the Ministry of Transportation. That is the one that is supposed to serve as a hub from Marina. When the ships come into the harbor, you do transshipment onto barges or specialized vessels that can travel over a maximum of 2-3 meter draft, all the way through the intracoastal routes to Warri, to Onitsha. The other one is the channel management. There is a company with Chinese investors that are willing and have the capacity to manage this channel. And I have told my people in the ministry that if I don't have these two projects off the ground, some people are going to cry. I will make examples with some people if these two projects don't take off by next year. So, when we provide the alternatives, then we can now tell haulage people that sorry, you can no longer take petroleum products by road. You can then no longer take construction aggregates by road. You can no longer take cement by road. So our roads will even last longer. The tonnage
Event which was organized by MARAN with the theme 16 years of port concession, the pains and the gain, also gave the discussant the opportunity to remind the federal government to pay off those who were affected during the concession of the port.
Because the port authority was actually indebted up to the tune of $34 million. And nothing was coming in, all due to the inefficiency of the port. So as a result, the industry made their voice and contributed, and government yielded. So at the end of the day, we have this reform and concession report the concessionaires. But now talking about the pains and the gains, there are a lot of pains, but I will not call it gain, because though it's not as if concession is not good, it's good, but we've not had any gain so much. There is not much gain. But I would say the expectation, I would call it expectation, what we expect from the concession. For instance, one of the gains that I would like to point out here is that we lost over 8,000 workers were retrenched. It's a very big pain. So many of them have died. I saw one of them about 2 weeks ago. She came into my office begging for money. She was principal officer, Nigerian Port Authority, in fact, training principal manager. Because she just wrote a book and she came selling the book, Christian books and all the rest. I had to give her money. I've been buying the book from her several times. It's a very bad because we are all sitting down here talking about concession. A lot of people paid for it. 8,000 workers lost their job. Some of them will not recover back up to today. A good example is that woman, the principal manager of the train, Tinker. So, and now we have to critically look at it, if at all it's worthwhile for laying off 8,000 Nigerians and give it to some individuals who claim they are professionals who manage our port better than us. Concession is all about financing, it's all about designing, construction, as well as operating and maintaining the facility. But the first thing we have to put at the back of our mind is that this port, the port itself, is a natural resource given to us as a citizen. It doesn't belong to just one person. It belongs to every one of us. And if we see it from that point, it means it's something we have to guide very well. It's our territory. As such, all these concessionaires, apart from the just finished deep sea port in Lekki, that is more or less about 7 people are shareholders to that deep sea port. All other concessionaires in 2006, I could remember vividly, on the 3rd of April 2006, the then Director General of BPE, Mrs. N.I. Chibu, was in Apapa Port to hand over those, the terminals to the concessionaires. And she made it very clear. The reason why we wanted to give out our port to these concessionaires are just very clear. One, inefficiency. Secondly, we lost so much revenue due to a diversion of cargo to other neighboring countries, and as well as high cost of doing business, high cost of clearing cargo in the port. So if we're not talking about gain, at the expense of 8,000 citizens, which most of us here are also one way or the other linked to those people. Have we really gained? That is just the problem I have.
Francis, thank you very much. We have to pass it around. We have 25 minutes for the discussion.
Okay, let me just round up. So, the bottom line is that we want the best for ourselves. That's why we give it out. And the expectation is that we want people running efficiently. We want the cost reduced. We want to see Nigerians benefiting from these concessionaires managing our port. Therefore, governments have totally abdicated from their role, just like Barrister Hassan said, which is not supposed to be.
Over the years, you see dog workers and factory workers. You don't call my dog workers the factory workers anymore, because the reform have transformed them to standard. The reform have taken care of the passing that all of us are always passing. So I want to thank the organizer of this program, and I want to appreciate them for honoring maritime workers of Nigeria. The honor is not for me. It's for all the workers, it's for all the stakeholders who still believe in us. And I want to assure them, the era of talking, the era of banking tables, the era of talking to your employers as if you are the landlord of the port is no longer in our dictionary. And an era of that has been buried, and it has been buried forever. But that does not mean that when you see a snake, and that small snake, you train him to a standard, you have forgotten where his poison is all about. Don't toy with the dog workers to their rights. They are poisonous. In terms of regularity, in terms of everything, because things have changed now. Because the era of Akube, ghost names, masquerade, covering his eyes as if there's nobody, that is the meaning of Akube. So it is gone. But any terminal operators or any employers of labor who want to introduce ghost name, Akube, I believe the dog worker will change the business. But today we can boast of where dog workers, some of them are graduates, they are master degree holders, and they are still training them. So we want to use this video to appeal to all the terminal operators. They are the end users. They are the end users. Managing these poor workers. They should train and retrain them to a standard. I can tell you 70% of the terminal operators are training their dog workers on the ground, while others, those who doesn't have the love of the poor workers in their heart, who believe in making them as a slave, in making their blood to money, very soon, you know, we pass on them. You know, we pass on them.
Yeah. Whatever is due to those that were retrenched should be paid to them. I think that is the fair thing to do. And it is never too late to do what is right. If they were not appropriately disengaged and paid their entitlements in 2006, that should be done now. Very important. Still on the human angle, that pain, yes, there are also gains from the human angle. And I am happy the PG of the union is here. If you remember, before the port concession in 2006, our dog workers were casual workers. They were casual workers. There were dog workers that would work in the port. After a whole month, they would probably go home with 1,500 naira. It was that bad, and the union leaders are here. But all of that has changed today. The reform has impacted very positively on the lives of our dog workers, thanks to the leaders of the union and also to the government. Yes. Believe it or not, I run a microfinance bank, so I have interactions with dog workers. Sometimes they take facilities. They are very well paid, sir. I won't be surprised if some dog workers are not earning more than you as a freight forwarder. The reform is working for them. And they have the NJIC where every 2 years they sit around the table with terminal operators to continuously review their wages. Is that correct, sir? So it has impacted, it has helped improve the welfare of dock workers, and it has also helped that by improving the welfare of dock workers, you have helped entrench the harmony and stability in the sector. Because before that reform, I don't know if you will remember what they used to call Akupe. You see, sir, it has been buried. Thank God to Comrade Prince Adeyoju. The reform has been total. It has been great. It has helped, and I think he will speak more on that. Then finally, truth is that the port concession has worked well, as our big brother, Barrister Hassan Bello, has said. There are still challenges. Nigerians will benefit more from the concession if those ancillary challenges around the ports are addressed. Number one, clearing process. Clearing process. It's the same Barrister Hassan Bello that said years ago that our clearing system is primitive. So port reform has happened, but the clearing system, which is an essential component of the port process, has remained primitive. So if the final authority for releasing cargo has refused to move with the times, you will not see the benefit of the reform. Number two problem, how Nigerians can benefit and see the benefit of the reform, is to deal with this infrastructural issue. Number one, the roads. Or let me say, cargo evacuation from the ports. Apapa, Tinkan, 100% road. Thank God Badging is coming up now under the Honorable Minister, and it is really picking up, it is good. But that rail connectivity must immediately begin to work to reduce the pressure on the road. The truckers, before the reform, they were parking inside the port. Now, they don't have that space to park anymore. I want to suggest strongly, sir, government will need to reclaim that space from Nnewi building on Creek Road. That space from Nnewi building up to Liverpool. The private businesses there no longer have business there, sir. That could serve as logistic space to serve the ports. Because right now, the truckers remain stationary on the bridge. Even if you fix the road, they will remain stationary. Because they cannot all enter the port at the same time.
We had to reform our ports at that time. The port subsector was not contributing to the economy. The port system was not well run and was characterized by blatant inefficiency in port operations, unbridled corruption, lack of conscious linkage between the sector and the Nigerian economy. Nigerian ports could not meet up with the maritime demand of the Nigerian domestic economy, nor that of international community. I'm sure many of us still remember what our ports were and what our ports are. The ports operated alone, largely outside the ring of significant economic contribution. No competition. Port infrastructure were ancient, dilapidated, and were the cause of the inefficiency. Government had policy somersault. Government did not meet infrastructural need of the maritime sector. No planning, no projection. Infrastructure were designed without a sense of leakage or connectivity. Haphazard. You remember the port, the river port that was commissioned by no other person than the president of this country. I don't know what business has the president to go and commission ports anyway. Okay, this should be done by the local governments. A local government should own ports. A proper port, should be owned, or a proper local government should be a substantial shareholder in a proper. Why do we centralize port to the government? So it is important we look at also the regulatory framework. Is the port industry over-regulated? Is this under-regulated or unspecified regulation? Chaos and confusion. That's what characterizes the port operations. Port governance, which is adoption and enforcement of rules, governing conduct and authority and international resources to develop and manage port activities to benefit society and the economy. That should be the goal. Reform became necessary, therefore, to maximize optimal benefits deriving from the sector. Here is a sector, vast, resourceful, full of potentialities, but the way it was run, you couldn't make any sense out of it. So reform must be carried out. Like we did reforms in communication, like we did reform in banking and other sectors, and we could see we're reaping. So structural reforms practice. In so doing, government carried out the reform to structurally determine the model of port administration, and that's where we have the private sector coming. Private sector, the engine room of growth. Private sector that is known for efficiency, that is known for removal of delays, of chaos, of confusion, and corruption. So the private sector were brought in. That is transfer of ownership and operation, was some say possession, to the private sector within a specified time. So it was a lease agreement in legal parlance. It was not more than that. So what is the expectation? After the transfer of ownership or possession to the private sector, efficient port system acceleration, Nigeria's linkage to the world economy, opening up markets and opportunities. This means international trade armies. If we trade internationally, we will earn that foreign exchange that everybody cares for. We will not be having the value of naira go as low as it has. We cannot, our economy is not dependent on some goods and car prices of another country. And there are so many things to export, international trade. Less transport costs, less inflationary trade, and the benefits. So how will reforms impact? Government enhance revenue, reducing transport costs, easing financial burden on government, nobody does a budget, and so on. And so that's what happened. For shippers, exporters, and importers, lower transport costs, lower freight costs, options, and choice. For consumers, cheaper cost of imported goods. And for providers of the services, return on investment. So there's hardly a single port reform, there are many, but you have to look at the perspective, choose carefully, deliberately, a system of reform that works for your country. There is no toolkit of universal application. Shipping is international, but you know, there is a Nigerian shipping. You know, so if they say shipping is international, I know it's international, but then there are peculiarities in Nigeria. Now in Italy, it is encouraging merger of port authorities. Before, it said there should be regionalization of port or decentralization. Greece is angling for full privatization. That is, sell everything, even the land and everything. Sell it to investors, let them do what they want with it. In China and Korea, governments still have influence. So privatization, commercialization, decentralization, corporatization, and so on and so forth. But we chose the landlord model. We lease the terminals to private companies with the port authority retaining control of land, that is concession. So has there been gains? I'm asking you whether there have been gains in this. There certainly have been. Certainly. They are palpable, even though they are limited. In 2006, 26 terminals out of 5 port complexes. The gains, the reforms was short of revolutionary as far as concerned, changing radically the dynamics of the port operation in Nigeria. The impact was noticeable, palpable, relative to what was replaced. And you have to term it as revolutionary. The moment the private sector took, you could see a lot of changes, and that is good. There is efficiency in port operation, largely because of the private sector participation. Increase in port revenue, and this could be substantiated. In 2020, the container throughput was 72,500 tons, metric tons. But in 2022, we have 1,722,000 TEUs, and up, it keeps on going. So which means something has happened. MPA, for example, was saying it generated 172.3 billion in the first half of 2022. It has remitted 78 billion to the coffers of Nigeria. Within the MPA management, structural reorganization were carried out with emphasis on increased contribution to the economy.
The event is packaged strictly to appraise the 16 years of port concession and also to appreciate people who have contributed to the success of the maritime importation of Nigeria in the last 4 years. If you look at the crowd this evening, it shows that MARAN is a lead association in the industry. And I pray that in the next 10 years, when we shall be celebrating the 44 years, MARAN will be bigger than this.
Issue of clearing of goods and the executive order on ease of doing business in the nation's port, the minister said he would work on the port community system, which is the surest way of taking out cargo from the port within a matter of time. Joy Enamuna, Seabed TV.